everyone. Today we're going to be talking about the IEEE Instrumentation and Measurement Society Awards program, and also answering some common questions that we get. My name is Katie, and I'm currently a member at large on the AdCom, and I've also served on the awards committee for a couple of years. And today we also have Max Cortner, who's the awards committee chair this year too. So we're going to be trying to answer some common questions that we get and just telling you all about our IMS Society Awards. So to start with, I'm going to share my screen and just kind of walk through what the different awards are real quick. So in terms of awards, there are 6 different society awards. We have Career Excellence, Distinguished Service, Outstanding Young Engineer, the Society Technical Award, the J. Barry Oaks Advancement Award, and then also the Best Application in I&M. And these are all going to have a nomination deadline of August 1st this year. We're going to link this page in the description box of this video so that it's easy to get to, easy to find. And for each one of these awards, you can go in, get more details, see what's required, what the prize is, the basis for judging, eligibility, and then also see past recipients, as well as, go ahead and do your nomination through here. So that webpage is kind of your one-stop shop to find all of our society awards and then also get to the details about them. So with that, we're going to start kind of walking through some of the common questions that we get. So the first one is just, what are the components of a nomination? And so Max, do you want to kind of walk us through, some of the basic components that go into a nomination for one of these awards?
Yeah, certainly. Primarily, once you've determined, or once as a nominator, once you've determined that the individual is qualified as a recipient, then as membership in IEEE and I&M or student membership is a requirement, for example. But once you've determined that, it's a simple matter of accessing the nomination form through the website that Katie showed, IEEE-IMS.org. Any of those awards has a link to an application form. The application form will have space for a couple of paragraphs to summarize the individual, biographical information, summarize I think this individual is a good candidate for an award, and places to attach a CV or resume, as well as letters of recommendation. Most of the rewards require 2 letters or more of recommendation. All of this can be done electronically. Just upload the files. We don't need to physically mail anything in, and they're all accessible.
Great, yeah, and I also know too that for some of the awards, there's kind of additional components as well, and that's going to vary from award to award. Like for example, with the Best Application in I&M award, there's also a space to upload, a summary of the impact of the application, things like that. So you can always just go into that website and see all the different components and, kind of get to know what you're getting yourself into when you're putting together a nomination. Make sure you have all of your ducks in a row so you can submit that all and have a complete nomination.
Exactly.
I think another question that we tend to get is, can you self-nominate? And I believe the answer for all of our awards is no, you cannot.
Yeah, that is true. You cannot self-nominate. And as well, members of the awards committee cannot nominate or be nominated for awards. So we actually very much need your participation in order to capture the breadth of potential awardees that we deserve. We are a worldwide organization of instrumentation and measurement, and there's a lot of deserving candidates out there doing great work in any of these areas. So we need your support, but you cannot nominate yourself or a member of the committee.
Right. And also too, members of the committee cannot provide letters of support as well. So that's another thing that you should be aware of as the nominator. You know, if you're trying to ask somebody else who's on the committee to provide a letter of support, that can hurt your nominee's application. So just be aware of that.
Right.
But I will say too, even though you can't self-nominate, you know, if you're really interested in being a nominee, you can always talk to your mentors or your colleagues and say, hey, I think I would maybe be a good fit for this award. You know, would you be willing to support me and help, you know, nominate me for this? Because typically the nominee will be involved in putting together the nomination. And I think that's another question that we get too is, you know, are nominators just doing this and not telling nominees whatsoever, or are the nominees involved in the process? And I think typically, yes, the nominees are involved because you do have to provide that biographical summary, your CV, and also the nominee is going to be the person who best knows who to ask for letters of support because they'll know their network the best. They know who's going to, you know, provide good letters of support for them. So, you know, typically it's a collaboration between the nominator and the nominee to put together this package.
Exactly right. The nomination doesn't have to be a secret from the nominee.
And then that leads us into another question, and that's if you don't win, can you try again?
Absolutely, yes. And we encourage it. We some categories we get many nominees and are limited by our rules to choosing only one in a particular year. That doesn't mean that the nominee isn't deserving. It's just a matter of timing, and renominating someone can really help all of us to recognize all of the candidates that we have who are in this area and in this technical expertise.
Definitely. I would say that probably the only reason you couldn't be nominated again is if you were to kind of age out. You know, some of the awards, such as the Outstanding Young Engineer or the J. Berry Oaks, I believe there is kind of an age limit or a time limit on, you know, when you can be nominated for that. You have to be within, you know, a certain number of years of the start of your career or below a certain age. So that's just something to be aware of, but that would probably be the only reason that I can think of that you wouldn't be able to try again for a specific award.
And there are some awards where it doesn't make sense. If you win, you shouldn't be nominated again. For example, a Lifetime Achievement Award, you know, you only get one lifetime. So let's you know, in other cases, you could be, for example, for a technical award, I don't believe you would be eliminated from consideration for different technical merits. You wouldn't win the award again for the same technical background, but if you had gone off to, if a candidate had gone off to work and had done substantially more work in a same or different area of technical expertise, certainly possible to nominate the individual again.
Definitely. And with the technical award as well, too, that can be a group of people that's nominated for having, you know, made a significant technical achievement. So maybe you are a part of two different groups or two different projects, you know, within the organization that you work in.
Good point.
So I think another kind of question that we tend to get are, you know, what are some common mistakes that we see in awards nominations?
Well, I think the biggest mistakes are the basics. You mentioned earlier the challenge of having someone on the committee as part of the process, either as a letter recommendation or as the nominator, and that's certainly not allowed. And that would cause an immediate rejection. Beyond that, simple things like make sure the individual is a member of INM. Again, simple mistakes. Beyond that, I wouldn't call them mistakes, but you could certainly improve your nomination if you discuss, as Katie mentioned earlier, the impact. Many of these are about professional activities in I&M, either in the society or just in the profession in general. And it's important to actually talk about the impact of those, not just someone has been a member for many years. Okay, what impact have they had upon the society or upon the profession? You know, started a whole new course of study in a particular specialty, created, you know, helped us write magazine articles, submitted papers. What has been that impact? And of their same thing, of their technical accomplishments, even of the application in instrumentation and measurement. It's really, I think, improves the nomination if we understand what impact this has.
Definitely. And I would agree with that. From the past couple of years I've been on the awards committee, I think the most effective nominations are the ones that are going to be, you know, one, well written, they follow the directions, they're very clear and concise and professionally put together. But then also too, those letters of support are so important, I think, and making sure that they're complimentary to you as a candidate, that they're speaking to the award criteria as well. So if you're being nominated for something like the Distinguished Service Award and all of your letters talk about, you know, you've gotten a lot of patents, or, you know, you're a great inventor, but they don't talk about any of the service you've done for the IMM Society. They don't talk about your involvement or, you know, what you've contributed in that area. That's not going to be as strong of a nomination, in my opinion, as one that does speak to those service components. You know, so make sure that your letters are talking about what the award actually is and that they're relevant.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I think another thing, you know, I've seen before too is that, you know, typically one letter of support is required, and then you can have, you know, up to 2 or 3 additional ones. You know, I think the nominations that do take advantage of that opportunity to include additional ones tend to be a little bit stronger. There's only that one letter of support, and all the other, you know, 10 nominations or whatever have 2 or 3. You know, that's not as much of an opportunity that candidate with only one has to, you know, have people really speak to all their qualifications and what a great candidate that they are. And it can kind of, you know, set you behind a little bit as compared to all those others that, you know, reached out to more colleagues, more collaborators, and got more letters of support.
Absolutely. Good.
I would also say another thing kind of on that point is, you know, the kind of the diversity of your letters of support as well. If all of your letters of support are maybe from your institution and people in the exact same role as you, you know, that can be a little bit repetitive sometimes too. You know, if you're a professor at your university and you have 2 other professors in your same department write you letters, that can be a little bit of a narrow perspective on you as a candidate. You know, it could be more effective to go out and also have, you know, somebody who worked at another institution or somebody from a volunteer role that you've, you know, been in, write a letter to kind of have a more well-rounded package.
I would say to that earlier point you made about the support should fit the category or the specifics. The same goes for letters of support. I mean, if we're talking about the best application or we're talking about service, we should have people who are witnesses to your service, not necessarily academic associates who may or may not be a member of the IEEE. Nominators don't have to be a member of the IEEE, and neither do the people who write the letters. So if it's about service to the IEEE and the INM, it makes sense to have someone who recognizes and has seen that service, as opposed to, oh, this is my mentor professor, you know, who isn't particularly involved in the IEEE. So that's a key piece as well. Make sure that it all tells the same story.
Definitely. So I think with that, let's kind of round this out with just, is there any other advice that you have for either nominees or nominators as they're going through this process?
Well, I think I think the final advice would be aware of the timelines, because late nominations don't get accepted. The timelines are published. You'll get things in emails, or be able to see on the IEEE website, IEEE-IMS.org, the deadlines for submissions. So pay attention to that. They can be submitted early for next year. Nobody says you have to wait until the last minute. So be thinking ahead, I think, in terms of when to submit.
Yeah, and I guess another thing I would say is that, look around to your colleagues, the people that you work with, the people you interact with, either in IMS or in your professional world,
Mhm.
and see who's a good candidate. Recognizing people in these ways can be, such a great honor for them. It can increase their confidence, it can increase their involvement. It's a great service too to be a nominator and take that time and really recognize the great people in our community. So I think it's very rewarding, very worthwhile. And I encourage you to, take the time to do that, because it's going to uplift our colleagues and help them be more involved in our society as well.
Absolutely. Please nominate soon.
So with that, just one last reminder that nominations for these awards are due August 1st currently. You can go to that website to submit your nominations. And also too, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Our contact information is available on the IMS website, and you can also drop them in the comments of this video too, and we can respond that way. So with that, thank you very much, and we're excited to see your nominations.
Yes, thank you.